Hey, what's up everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. So today we are doing my 2024 mid-year top 10s, and this is going to be on the 135-pound lightweight division. Before we get into that, if you could smash the like button, leave a comment, or subscribe to the channel. I really do appreciate any and all support that I can get as I continue to build my channel here. So 135 is a very good division. A lot of good things taking place, and it's had a pretty solid first half of the year. You know, I know people were worried that some of the fighters wouldn't fight each other because of the the crossing the street, and then you also had guys that moved out of the division. So the division's not as strong as it was, but it's still pretty strong. And we had some good moments in the lightweight division. So let's run through the top 10 and see what could be what's going on here at the halfway point of 2024. We start with number 10, former unified lightweight champion George Kambosos Jr. Kambosos drops 6 spots from number 4. He got an opportunity to fight for the vacant lightweight title, the IBF title, against Vasily Lomachenko in May, and he was at home in his backyard again, and he got absolutely fucking destroyed against Lomachenko. Lomachenko dominated him from start to finish, and then stopped him in the 11th round, handing him his first knockout loss of his career. Big win for Loma right there. He needed that, and Kambosos, tough loss. He drops immensely after that loss. That's his 3rd loss in 4 fights. He looked like crap against Maxie Hughes last year in a controversial decision win. So Kambosos kind of unclear what he's going to do. I wouldn't be surprised if he stays at 135, but I really think he should make a move to 140. Maybe even see if he can get a showdown with Teofimo Lopez, a rematch with him, just to kind of get it in with Lopez, But Kambosos, he's got a name, and fighters will fight him. And I think just move to the heavier division and take your chances there, because he's already been dominated at 140. So I mean at 135. I think he should be done with the division, but we'll see how he bounces back, and if he bounces back for the end of the year. Number 9 is contender Zaur Abdullayev. He returned to action, got a victory this year. Haven't really heard much else about him. He's a WBO's number 5 ranked contender. I'm hoping he gets some kind of bigger fight in the second half of the year to try to get himself into a title shot. I like Abdullayev, but we'll see how that shakes out. Number 8 is former world title challenger Frank Martin. Frank Martin is returning, he returned. He actually moves up 2 spots from number 8 after losing his first fight. He moved up to and fought Gervonta Tank Davis for the WBA lightweight title on June 15th, and was boxing Davis. He was boxing him well. He was outworking him, and he was outboxing Tank Davis. After 7 rounds, I had him up 5 rounds to 2. But he could not keep Tank off of him. Tank landed a monster uppercut in the 8th round, and then that hurt him badly, and then followed it with a straight left, or overhand left, that just knocked him out cold. Tough loss for Frank Martin, but no shame in losing to Tank. He wasn't the favorite most people thought he was going to lose, but he fought really well, and I think that goes a long way. So we'll see how he bounces back from that following that loss. But I hope he does come back before the end of the year and tries to shake the loss off. So we'll see. Number 7 is undefeated contender Raymond Muratalla. Muratalla is still ranked number 2 by both the WBC and the WBO. He's trying to make a move into into a world title shot as well. He's 1-0 so far this year, staying busy. And he's actually fighting on July 13th next week. He will square off against Tevin Farmer, the former junior lightweight champ at 130. And Muratalla, another chance to really prove himself here. I think he's going to knock Tevin Farmer out and stay on the road and the path towards a really looking forward to seeing him fight. I like Raymond Muratalla. Number 6, moving up 2 spots from number 8, is the undefeated number 1 ranked contender, William Zepeda. Zepeda returned earlier this year against Maxie Hughes as he fought in a WBA and IBF final eliminator, and he absolutely dominated Maxie Hughes, stopping him in just 4 rounds, and is now the number 1 ranked contender. He is an undisputed number 1. And that's the first time I believe I've said that since I've been doing my videos, and maybe the first time I've seen it where every one of the 4 governing bodies has him ranked number 1. You know, obviously the belts have stuff going on right now, so William Zepeda's staying busy, and he's taking a big challenge tonight, when he fights Giovanni Cabrera. Now, I got him beating Cabrera by a decision, but I think Cabrera's got a good chance, but I think Zepeda can knock him out too, so it's going to be interesting. But Zepeda, if he gets by Cabrera, he should have a title shot waiting for him. So I'm hoping that Zepeda gets the victory and moves forward, because I like William Zepeda a lot. Number 5 is the newly crowned WBO champion, Denis Berianchek of the Ukraine. He wasn't ranked coming in. He got a crack at the vacant title against Emmanuel Navarrete. He came in the underdog and pulled off the big upset win over Navarrete, beating him by a deserving 12-round decision, but it was a close fight. Now Berianchek's the champ. He has already called out Shakur Stevenson to unify belts, but I'm not sure how that's going to shake out, because Stevenson sounds like he's done with Top Rank after his last fight of the contract that takes place tonight against Artem Harutyunyan. So, but I do believe that if Stevenson, for his next fight, stays a free agent, he could fight under the Top Rank banner again as a free agent and take on Berianchek in a unification bout. And if Lomachenko and Tank Davis fight each other later this year, as they're negotiating that fight, then we could have a battle for undisputed between the winners by next year. So Denis Berianchek has a major opportunity here to make a splash. And even if he doesn't, he's going to stay busy. I like Berianchek. Congrats to him on moving into the top 10. Number 4, I still got Jermaine Ortiz right there. He moves up 1 spot from number 5. The reason I have him there, even though he's not even ranked in this division, is because he moved up earlier this year to 140 to challenge Teofimo Lopez for the title there, and he lost a very controversial decision. It was a close fight. He lost the decision to Lopez in that fight, and now we don't know what he's doing next. But considering he was a lightweight moving to 140, he's not a big punching fighter at 140. I ranked Ortiz here just because he originally started as a lightweight, and I think he has good opportunities at 135 if he moves back down. But he could want to stay at 140. I just hope he comes back and stays busy, whichever thing he decides to do, because you could very easily argue that he should have won that fight against Lopez. So I hope he comes back and stays busy. Number 3 is reigning undefeated WBC champion Shakur Stevenson. Stevenson remains number 3. He entered the year there. He hasn't fought yet, but he's returning for his last fight on his Top Rank contract tonight, when he battles Artem Harutyunyan in the main event of that fight, of that ESPN card. It's going to be good, but I think Stevenson has a lot to prove to the boxing world and to other promoters if he's trying to sign with other promoters, because he wants a big contract. He wants guys to offer him serious money to come and fight for them, and a strong performance against Harutyunyan is going to get him that. So I think Stevenson's coming for blood. I think he's going to dominate Harutyunyan and stop him in the later rounds to retain his title, but we'll see what happens. That's tonight, July 6th, ESPN. Stevenson and Harutyunyan for the WBC title. Still number 2 is the undefeated WBA lightweight champion Gervonta Tank Davis. Tank fought on June 15th on an Amazon Prime pay-per-view card when he main evented against undefeated Frank Martin. He dominated the, well, he didn't dominate the action. Frank Martin was actually outboxing him in this fight, but Tank closed the fight strong and knocked out Frank Martin in the 8th round as he was behind on the scorecards. Good performance by Tank Davis. Tank and Lomachenko were somewhat discussing things prior to that fight, and since the fight with Martin, Bob Arum has confirmed that there's been good talks taking place between Tank Davis and Vasily Lomachenko to unify belts later this year. I really hope that happens because it'd be a huge fight for both men, and it'd be a unification bout. So, and the winner is absolutely the top dog at 135. So a lot riding on this, and I hope it takes place later this year. And then finally, still number 1 is the newly crowned IBF lightweight champion, Vasily Lomachenko. He returned in May and challenged for the vacant IBF title against George Kambosos Jr. He dominated Kambosos start to finish, ate him up, stopped him in the 11th round of that fight, and captured the vacant lightweight championship of the world with the win. Now, as I just said, he's in discussions with Tank Davis for a title unification bout, and I hope that fight takes place. I really do. I'm glad the two sides are talking, and I hope a deal can be banged out between the two sides. It's going to be huge for boxing if it does. So we'll see what happens there. But the lightweight top 10 is strong, and a lot of moving pieces to set up for bigger fights. I'm really hoping they do. Now we're going to look at anybody. Well, I forgot to mention the only guy that dropped out. That was my previous number 6, the newly crowned junior welterweight champ, Isaac Cruz. Cruz moved up to 140 and challenged Rolly Romero earlier this year and knocked him out in 8th rounds in an upset, and is now, solid at 140. So a nice win for Cruz. Now, he could always move back down to 135 to fight Tank Davis in a rematch, or stay at 140 and fight him. But for now, he's out of the top 10 here because he's in the top 10 at 140. Now, the top 5 guys out of the top 10 that are the highest ranked fighters between the 4 governing bodies. First up is Keyshawn Davis, the undefeated contender on the rise. He beat former champ Jose Pedraza earlier this year impressively. He's fighting again, I believe. He either fights tonight or on the July 13th card on ESPN against Miguel Magdueno. I think he'll beat Magdueno on that fight, but he's just moving up the ladder. He's number 3 in the WBC, the IBF, and the WBO, so he has some high rankings. I'm looking forward to seeing what he does. Then you have Floyd Schofield. He's number 3 in the WBA. He's an undefeated contender on the rise as well. I think he returned and got a victory this year. Haven't really heard what he's doing next, so we'll see. Edwin De Los Santos is the WBC and the WBA's number 4 ranked contender right now. He hasn't returned since that shitty performance against Shakur Stevenson as he challenged for the title. I'm hoping he comes back on a big PBC card next and fight somebody. Next is Miguel Magdueno. I just mentioned him. He's the WBO's number 4 ranked contender. He's fighting Keyshawn Davis. That's a big WBO kind of eliminator right there. The winner's going to move up potentially to the number 2 spot and really make a splash right there. And maybe the winner of that fight might end up fighting Raymond Muratalla in a mandatory fight. So we'll see. Then you got Chan Thonson, who's an undefeated Canadian fighter. He's the WBA's number 5 contender. He's 16-0, 13 knockouts, hasn't really beaten anybody, but he's knocking on the door, and he could very well end up in an eliminator. And then you got Mark Chamberlain, who's a WBC's number 5 ranked contender. He's an undefeated British fighter, 16-0, 12 knockouts. He's returning against a fellow undefeated fighter on the Dubois and Joshua undercard on September 21st. So lightweight, I really think is going to be turning over to an extent and getting new faces in terms of challengers and new top dogs like Raymond Muratalla, Keyshawn Davis, Floyd Schofield, and William Zepeda in terms of the guys that are lining themselves up to fight each other, but also fight for the big titles possibly in 2025. But they might have to take each other on a little bit here while they wait around for the big dogs to potentially unify the belts in the division, and those are exciting. Having Lomachenko and Tank Davis talking is a big deal. Dennis Bergenchik calling out Shakur Stevenson when nobody else is. Those are the champs. That's a big deal. So I'm really excited to see what takes place here at lightweight in the second half of 2024. So stay tuned. It should be good. So that's it. That's what I got. That's my mid-year 2024 mid-year top 10 on the 135-pound lightweight division. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button, leave a comment, or subscribe to the channel. I appreciate any and all support. This is True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.